Hi and welcome back to the lab. Today we have here a brand new Yaesu FTM-200. So the radio does not produce any audio and well, let's have a look what we can do. Okay, so look, we have here our radio, so it's already switched on, and we can see here our volume level, and you see, okay, so that is not working. Let's check here our squelch. Squelch is already down to 0, so the owner already checked it, obviously. Okay, so let it down to 0 and volume is there, and let me check here because we can switch in and switch out mute, so you see it on the display. So mute is off, so that is not the problem. Okay, so we do not have a level, so an S meter input. So let me switch in our signal generator. Okay, so you see now we have level, and the modulation is also switched in, but nothing. So our radio is totally silent. Alright, so that can be almost anything, but first we test if we put it here to our external speaker. So you know that is always here connected to our monitor, and okay, so let me connect it to the external speaker jack, and okay, so now let's test it again. Oh, wow, already we have tone. Oh, very nice. So maybe that is only a faulty jack, which from time to time happens. So let's crack open the radio and let's have a look inside. Okay, so what we can see so far is that our speaker is connected down here. So that is obviously not our problem. Nope, it is not an intermittent problem caused here by this little connector. Okay, so that means we switch the radio off. Okay, radio is off. Let me take off the speaker like so. Okay, a very easy and first check is always the speaker itself, and it looks like that we have here, as usual, an 8 ohm speaker, and we can test it with an ohm meter. So you can already see the meter, and so we only need to get down our probes to the little connector here, and let me see what the result is. And look here, it is 7.5 ohm, so that is telling us that the speaker itself is not the problem, which is from time to time also an issue, but it is not here with our radio. Okay, and because our connector is underneath, we need to get access to the connector to check what's really going on here. Is it maybe only our little jack here which has a problem, or what is it? So that means let's try to get down to where we need to look. Well, the truth for jobs like this is always that we need to take out the entire PCB because, you know, even it looks like that we could take off here the bottom. It is only the chassis, right? So we do not have access here from the downside of our radio. So that means we really need to take off everything. We have to take here our HF connector off, and that, you know, is what we need to do to get underneath. Okay, so I had to first loosen a little bit here with a normal screwdriver the screws here inside, and now after that I'm able to use here my electrical screwdriver in order to get all our screws out, and that is always quite a lot. Okay, but that is boring now. Okay, so all screws are off, but as you can see, even that I have loosened here the both screws as well, so I cannot pull here our connector through the hole, since you know, you see that it is normally screwed in here. So, and that means we really have to take off here the solder, and then we will be able finally to lift our board. Okay, so let's try to suck as much solder as possible here, but that for its own is not easy, because we have a lot of ground plane, and you see that it is not easily melting. So I believe I need the help of a second iron to be able to finish this job here. Okay, so you see our connector is out. So really do not underestimate those connections here. So I really can warn you, because you can easily kill your PCB. So if you're trying to do things like this by your own, be careful. Okay, so now we should be able to lift our board off. So let's try. Yeah, you see now it is working without any problems. And you see here is a chassis, so that is what I've told you. You do not have a chance to get underneath if you try to screw here the lid off. So no way. So you really need to take the board out. Okay, and now we need to prove if our little jack is really the problem. And you see here it is, and it is SMD technology, so it is not through hole. That all makes it a little bit more difficult to get the old one off. But first let's verify what's going on here. Okay, so that is our schematic, and that is here our jack. And what we see first is that two connectors are not used. Then of course we have our ground, And of course we have then this internal switch. And the internal switch is what very often makes trouble. And so I believe it is here. So that here is the internal speaker connector. And so what we can test is coming here over this 0 ohm resistors to, the pin, this pin here over the little connector, and then back out. If we are having nothing connected to this jack here, we should get a connection through our jack here up to our internal connector for our internal speaker. So that is very easy then. So we can test here for continuity. That is all what we need to do. And if there is no continuity, we know that this jack is faulty. Alright, so that is the situation on board, and we have this both connectors which are not connected in our circuit. Then we have here our ground, so that is easy to check. So we can go here to another ground point, and let me check, is my working? So let me check here. So you can hear that, so that is ground, and that means that this both pins here are our little internal switch. Let me call it that way. Okay, so now when I go to this both points, I should get continuity. And as you can hear, there is definitely no continuity. Okay, so, and that is because sometimes it is not the best quality what we get here inside. So the used components are not what we would like to get. Let me check if I can get it. Problem here to get the contacts. I just want to check if we are able to get it beeping. Let me check. Ah, yeah, you see. So that is very often the problem here with this jacks, that the internal little switch is not very good, and the only thing I have done is this. Let me try. So you may see here contact, and if I bend it a little bit, then I can force it to get continuity, and then we hear the beep. So, well, that means we really need to take the old one out, because we cannot guarantee, even if we bend it a little bit, that it is good for the future. So therefore we really need to take this out. Well, the challenge here with this little speaker jacks are that, it is not heat resistant. So if we try to take it off with air, with hot air, then we melt everything, and well, so that is really a pain. Such a shape connector, I really hate it, because you really, as I often tell you, you easily can damage so much. When you take it off, you always gonna destroy the old jack. So that is the only way to get it out without destroying your pads, because you know, the pads are the most important point, if you will, to be able to put a new one in. So yeah, that is really not the nicest solution. Anyways, now we only need to replace with a new one. So let's put in a new jack. So I've here my spare parts, and that is of course the original one. And now let's see. Yeah, very nice. So that is how it should be. So now let me solder it in, and then we put back the PCB into our chassis and we are ready to go. Right, so then let's start. And let's see that we can get it back in. It's a narrow space still. Okay. Now we can adjust and align a little bit. Okay, so I think that looks decent. Okay. All right. Very good. There's only one left. And that is the most, that is definitely the most critical one. Again, very narrow everything here. Can't get down really. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Need to put a little bit flux down there. And we try to get the solder joint as good as possible. Yeah, I think that is now fine. Okay. Alright, so as you can see, our new audio jack is in. Now, of course, we have to clean here the old heat sink grease as much as we have to clean this here. And of course, we put everywhere new heat sink grease, that it is all fresh and really functional. So that will be our next task. So the PCB is back in. So what we still need to do is soldering here in our pins from our UHF connector. So that is what we need to do, and then we are ready almost for testing. Alright, so everything is back together. Now let's test. So let me connect the power supply to the radio, and let me start the radio. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Let me see, I have the generator connected to it. Let's see. Ah, okay. So that sounds good. So that is the internal speaker. So that is working back again. Very nice. Now let me connect the external speaker. Ah, okay. So that is obviously working as well, directly connected to my tester. Alright, so what can I say? Radio is back working, everything is fine. So we put it completely together and it can go back. That's it. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.